Just ahead on American Black Journal, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a tremendous impact on the food industry. I'll talk with a Detroit chef about the outlook for restaurants and our food supply. Plus, independent music venues are in need of financial support in order to survive. We'll hear from the operator of the Aretha Franklin Amphitheatre. Don't go away. American Black Journal starts now.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. As states begin to lift some of the restrictions aimed at stopping the spread of COVID-19, entertainment venues are expected to be among the last businesses to be allowed to reopen. The operators of independent music venues and promoters are banding together to fight for survival. Coming up, I'll talk with Shahida Mausi from the Aretha Franklin Amphitheatre about the pandemic's impact on the industry and the local music scene. But first, a look at the state of our food supply chain. I spoke with executive chef Phil Jones about the food system and the future of the restaurant business. So let's just start with you giving us a sense of the effect of this pandemic and all the disruption on your work and on the food industry in general.
This is a moment in time that I've been afraid it would happen, and not just for this reason, because of the actual outbreak of the virus, which is horrific. It could have been any number of reasons, and we are not prepared as a city, a state, a country for food emergencies, because we're not prepared for regular food service in a way that's proper, fair, equitable, clean, and healthy. And so one of the things that, this has exposed is our lack of readiness and our lack of cohesive, taking care of one another cohesively as a group, and really realizing that feeding the people is important. So, not all bad. Some of it's been really good. We've actually seen people step up that have not been in leadership around food, that have not been forced to face these kinds of large-scale incidences. And so we're finding a lot of good people out there, and I'm fortunate enough to share a PR guy with some very good food folks that mobilized us. And David Rudolph is our PR guy. He brought together Chef Max with Chef Genevieve Fang with Bangkok 96, Bartella Cuzzos, and Stephanie and Cynthia Bird at the Block and Floods. And so we've been feeding people. So I think in total, maybe 10 to 15,000, might be more than that. It's been a lot of people being fed for the last 5 weeks. Yeah. And we're going forward from there.
Yeah. The disruption to the food chain supply is one of the things that people are starting to talk about. Can you give us just a thumbnail of how that's supposed to work and how the pandemic is disrupting it?
Well, Most of our issue is a media issue right now. There's actually enough of a meat supply actually there, but people are panicking, and it's understandable. We haven't experienced this before, but the reality is that we do have enough food, and we are able to feed ourselves and this world several times over if we were to actually modify our food system and make it an effective tool for us. So people are panicking a little bit, but we also got the benefits, especially here in Michigan, being the second most agriculturally diverse state in the United States. We've got a growing season coming. So in all of this, there's the beauty that we can grow our own food, that we can actually take ourselves back to a place where we can take care of ourselves. And so there's some positivity and some joy in that knowledge, but it's taking some time for us to get up and running. So we've got these programs like Feeding the Front Line, where restaurants are being paid to actually prepare meals, and we're doing things, but we've got opportunity here. It's not a horrific thing, but it needs some help, and we actually need some more people to step up. And I'll speak specifically to the churches, because they're an important part of our food chain, and they're not there right now. Their doors are closed.
I wonder if you can also talk about local restaurants, which are closed. As you said, you guys are trying to feed people, and that's great.
Right.
But your livelihoods depend on table service and things like that. Give us a sense of how disruptive that is.
There's been some great creativity, and people have actually stepped up. Like I mentioned, there is that program, Feeding on the Front Lines, curbside service, some changes in our models, and this all comes at a time where it affects more restaurants somewhat more than the others. We have our brothers and sisters who've been over on the Avenue of Fashion, who have been going through a horrific ordeal with their restaurants already, with the traffic being disrupted the way it has been. They were just reopening. Mm-hmm. And so all of these things are hitting our restaurants and scene at a time where it's already hard. And now we've got all of these pressures that are being put upon our system here. But our folks have been responding.
I wonder if you can also talk about African-American owned restaurants and particular vulnerabilities they have here.
Well, our homeless population is suffering. Health is wealth, and obviously our homeless folks do not have resources other than places like NSO, COTS, Alternative for Girls, and these are some of the places that we've been servicing. And the need there is great. The other programs have been taking in money, so we've been able to feed them, but this needs to keep on going. And we have to actually realize that by taking care of the least of us, we're taking care of all of us. And so if we're able to feed our folks, give them a little help, it's a wonderful thing. One of the clients at one of the places we're servicing said that food that they were receiving, that Chef Max and his group down there really breaking their backs to get out, was so good that it actually gave them hope.
Wow.
And we need to do that. We need to connect around the dinner table a little bit more. We need to teach our kids how to grow food. You teach them how to can and preserve and do all these things, because here in the state of Detroit, we have food insecurity in general. Mm-hmm. Poverty rates are high here. A lot of folks of all ages and all races that are dependent on food stamps and SNAP and other things like WIC and things like that are being challenged every day by our federal government, because those folks don't think that we all deserve a meal. So those are some of the vulnerable folks. We've had our seniors that are shut in. We've been getting calls from senior buildings that they don't have a way to eat. Mm-hmm. So some of those folks have been getting some help, but there are a lot of other people out there that need help. The little lady that's at the end of the street, we don't see her except for during the summer months when it's warm, but she's hungry now. Mm-hmm. My uncle that lives around the other side of town have all the greatest resources. We've got to feed these folks and make it a priority, because if we take and get ourselves outside of ourselves a little bit, we'll find that there's actually beauty in this horrible time.
Do you think that the restaurant scene here in Detroit, which was sort of coming into a new era of sorts. Before this, we saw, particularly, I think, among Black-owned restaurants, kind of a renaissance. How badly does this set us back?
Um, it's gonna make for a stronger food system, but we've got to get away from this narrative that Black folks just started cooking.
Well,
If we're one of the most unhealthy cities in the world, who's burning up these calories? People don't know. Joe Louis used to have a fried chicken concept, so we've been restaurant tours forever here, and the freeway policy, finances, all of these things have made for the Black food scene to seem like there's something that's not there, but it's always there. We can't be this fat if we're not being fed. But but right now the biggest thing is that we are actually starting to get some publicity and get some press and get some of the love that's shown to people who aren't from here,
right.
that haven't been around it, haven't given up a little blood and sweat and any type of equity at all. You had people with that sandwich concept downtown in the gallery that they blamed Detroiters for not wanting $20 sandwiches at lunch. They came in and said, well, there's no parking, this is a problem. Everyone Black that I know was forced to do a business plan and have a feasibility study of the market.
Right.
Is it my fault you didn't read? Yeah, but they get the money and we can't, and that's an issue. So we've got to deal with our financing. We have to do with our policies, and even in terms of growing, what does our urban agriculture look like? We have Keep Growing Detroit. They're trying to get 51% of all fruits and vegetables grown by Detroiters in Detroit. It's possible. We have the land. Those are businesses. Those are jobs. That's money that goes to people that you and I both know, and that has to be our goal. We're now seeing that the big food system is failing us horribly. So we need to go local.
So Shahida Mausi, the president and CEO of the Aretha, welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's great to be here.
It's really great to have you here with us. Let's start with you talking about the effect of this pandemic and all of the disruption on entertainment venues like the Aretha. Obviously, you're shut down like everybody else, but talk about the threat of long-term disruption, just how you've been managing all of this.
The virus has disrupted our day-to-day business. Obviously, Detroit is a hard place sometimes in the wintertime, and we look forward to getting outside in the summer when the weather breaks, and the day that the tickets go on sale at the Aretha, people are just gleeful that summer's here and we can actually go and do something that's fun, that's nourishing to our spirits. And to have that kind of taken away has really impacted not only the thousands of people that attend every year, but our staff as well as, and then of course our business. And we're unlike businesses that have the opportunity to operate all year round. Summer is it in Detroit for an outdoor venue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's potentially devastating. We are hoping that between the people being mindful of the mitigation that we're all going through, the stay-at-home orders, the wear your mask, and please, everybody, would you put it above your nose? I mean,
right?
Right? You see half the people out in the street now, they got the mask down here. It's like, no. We want to go outside. Put the stuff up where it goes so that we can go outside.
That's right.
But small businesses, independent businesses are particularly hard hit. We are not publicly traded. We are not multinational corporations. We are a business, as are several other concert venues, music venues in our area, independently owned and operated. We're a family-owned business. So this hits us particularly hard. It hits us hard as a family. it hits the 300 plus people that work for us every summer. We are an economic engine on the riverfront of Detroit. Over 300 people work there regularly all summer long. And now that's not happening. So we're working to identify mitigation strategies so that we can open safely and provide an environment where people feel comfortable coming to enjoy music on the river again.
Yeah, and I should note that your background has me longing for the summer that you're talking about, the Detroit summer that you're talking about, that shot of the theater and of course the boats that all sort of gather along the riverfront to hear music as well. It really is one of the signature experiences here during the summer in Detroit, and so seeing it makes me want it even more.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we had great shows that were already on sale before the virus hit, and we had other shows that we had contracted for that we hadn't yet put on sale. So it's really precarious. We're hoping, we're at this point, we have postponed some shows, but we've not canceled any. So we are hoping to get some clear direction of what might be possible and when things might be possible from government, I guess within the next week or so.
Yeah. So you're also working together with other venues that are in the same boat to try to figure things out. Talk about how that's all coming together.
It's been really, really interesting to join forces with other independent venues from around the country. We have joined an organization that has just recently formed within the last month called NIVA, National Independent Venues Association. And part of what we're realizing as we come together is how strong we are as an industry, right? And I've also had the opportunity to work with other Black promoters from across the country, and just looking at the aggregate within those entities that are Black owned and are major promoters around the country and have long histories in this. It's a big industry. It's a big part of the economic engine in a lot of cities all across this country. But the PPP program doesn't really address our industry and where we are. There's no way that we're supposed to be back up to full string and spending 75% of a PPP loan on staffing when we're still shut down. And when we get the right to open, will we be at full capacity? Probably not. So it's going to take a while for us to get whole. And while PPP was a good, fast first swing at it, the reality is that we may be among the last of the businesses that are able to open back fully. And we are lobbying Congress and asking them to take a look at this industry in particular, and of the independents in this industry. You know, Ticketmaster and Live Nation and AEG, those are the big guys, right? One of them just did a deal for $500 million from Saudi Arabia to help fund them. Nobody's writing me a check from Saudi Arabia, right? If the government is going to bail out somebody, bail out those of us who are independent and are small and are part of the fabric of this community on a much more granular grassroots basis.
Yeah.
And we're asking them to do that. So if people would go to our website, you'll see how you can plug in and send your letter directly to your congressional representatives. We need them to know that we matter to you.
I wonder if you can talk just a little about what you think is probable or possible for concert venues in the future. I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about how this is going to change the way we interact for a really long time. But of course, people are not going to people are not going to stay away from music. They can't stay away from the concerts. They're not going to stay away from beautiful venues like the Aretha, which, you know, are part of our summer. So have you thought much about how that might change? That experience might be different going forward, even though we want to preserve that experience for ourselves and, of course, for the future.
Well, I'll begin by saying that some surveys have begun to happen, and people are reporting that approximately 40% of the audience says that they're ready to go back to concerts, that they want to go back to concerts. But that would do so before a vaccine is available. I think that number will grow as people begin to be educated about how we can socially distance and improve the sanitation within the various venues. There are people all across the country, and our staff included, that are working to find specific strategies of how we can do this together. Will you stand six feet away from somebody while you're walking to get into a venue? Yeah, okay, I can do that. I'm doing that at the grocery store anyway, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can do this. Would you wear a mask? Yeah, I probably would. And, you know, we've seen all the cool masks that go with the cool outfits and all of that, right? Would you allow your seat to be different than the one that you purchased already? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But that's part of what we've got to work out, right? If we've sold Jeezy and T.I. and half the house is sold already, can I reseat you to facilitate social distancing without major problems? I hope so. But I think that as we work together, we can do this. And then I looked at the New York Times today, and I was reading about what happened with music during and after the 1918 pandemic. And it was encouraging to me because people did go back to the theaters, and they saw a resurgence because people need music. It's healing. It's uplifting. It's how we find joy in moments together.
That is our program for today. Check out more interviews at AmericanBlackJournal.org, and you can always connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We're going to end with a throwback performance by the Vincent Chandler Collective at the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. Enjoy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
From Delta faucets to Behr paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.